Now at 6 and streaming on ProsperousToday.com, Cuero police are investigating after several businesses' windows were mysteriously shattered downtown over the weekend. And a death row inmate is pushing back why his legal team says the state may have rushed to set his execution date. And hundreds of Houston workers are set to lose their jobs. Chevron announced major layoffs following its merger with Hiss.
We've got a big change in our weather for the hot and brutal heat that we had today. It's going to change because we've got showers coming in tonight. I think tomorrow will be kind of a wet day and it won't be as hot. But we'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
And some major news happening for the UFL for next season. I'll tell you what that is later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Amaya Norman filling in for Shauna Curry and Don Brubaker today. Cuero police are still investigating how windows were broken at several businesses. Cuero Police Chief Stephen Ellis says the damage happened over the weekend. A total of 6 businesses in the area of Church, Gonzalez and Esplanade Street in downtown Cuero had windows shattered. Chief Ellis says the review footage shows downtown cameras and cameras at other locations, but found nothing. There are no reports of items stolen, other vandalism or injuries. The chief says they have a suspect in mind, but still have several leads to follow before making a confirmation. If you have any information, contact Cuero Police at 361-277-3552. Local nativity collectors are hosting a Christmas in July nativity exhibit this weekend. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with one of the collectors. And Ray, what did you see?
Yes, Ma, there's over 1,000 nativity scenes that are collected and they're being displayed in Port Lavaca. A local nativity collector decided to change things up and hold an event during the summer.
Antiques in 2018, a local resident by the name of Veronica Kaliba says she collects antiques out of necessity and appreciates how other artists tell stories. Kaliba loves to travel all across Texas to collect many different antiques and is adamant to share her collection.
It's like a museum of nativities is what I refer to it as.
Kaliba says some of the art she collects is diverse and unique and that she only collects what feels right to her. She also encourages others to appreciate how Jesus is portrayed in a variety of ways.
The reason that we do this is because we are believers, and so we want that to be foremost.
Kaliba also wants people to know that Jesus is the reason for every season.
The nativity exhibit will begin tomorrow, July 25th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and ends on Sunday, July 27th at 6 p.m. Amaya.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton claimed 3 homes as his primary residence. Records show that Paxton received a homestead tax break on 2 of them, which isn't allowed. They own a $1.5 million home near Dallas, bought a second home in Austin in 2015, and later a third. Mortgage records show that Paxton marked each one of as their primary residence, which is false. It's a crime to knowingly lie on mortgage forms under state and federal law. Texas death row inmate Robert Robertson is appealing his October 16th execution date. Last week, a state judge sided with Attorney General Ken Paxton's request to set the October execution date for Robertson, who was found guilty of killing his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki, in 2003. Attorneys for Robertson today announced they asked the Court for Criminal Appeals to pause the execution, arguing that an execution date shouldn't have been set while the court considered Robertson's case. Robertson filed an appeal of the conviction with the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in February. The court has not yet considered the appeal. And today, the Texas House Committee on Redistricting listened to the public at the Capitol about a new plan to change voting districts. A protest took place outside in response to the plan, which Governor Greg Abbott says it's a top goal for this special session. Lawmakers are thinking about changing the maps for Texas congressional district. This comes after pressure from President Trump and his Department of Justice. Trump has said he wants Texas Republicans to create a 5 new district to help their party in 2026 election. Now let's go to Maclovia Perez with the first look at our forecast. Max, tell us if it's going to get any cooler.
Well, it is going to be cooler. I mean, still in the 90s, but not as bad as it was today. We really topped out at 98 today. But what we have is the big change. Look at this. Lots of tropical moisture moving across Louisiana. It's coming across the Gulf of Mexico. It will be on top of us for the next 2 days. That gives us a good chance for showers and not as hot. It'll still be warm, but not as bad. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Chevron is expected to lay off more than 500 employees in Houston this fall as part of its merge with the Hess Corporation. Reports say the layoffs, impacting 575 workers at Chevron's downtown Houston offices, are scheduled for September 26. Employees were notified of the planned workforce reduction on July 18th, the same day Chevron finalized its merge with Hess. Chevron says it's offering severance benefits and job placement supports to those affected. Hulk Hogan passed away today at his home in Clearwater, Florida. Police say emergency services were requested at the residence this morning and that Hogan was pronounced dead after being transported to the hospital. Police are performing a routine death investigation, but at this point, there is no evidence of foul play or suspicious activity.
Just before 10 a.m. today, Clearwater Fire and Rescue, along with the Clearwater Police Department, responded to a house in the 1000 block of El Dorado Avenue for a medical-related call. It was discovered at that time Terry Bollea, also known as Hulk Hogan, was experiencing a serious medical-related issue. Personnel provided medical treatment at that time and transported Mr. Bollea to Morton Plant Hospital, where he died at 11:17 a.m. The Clearwater Police Department is conducting a death investigation, which is standard in these types of cases. There are no signs of foul play or suspicious activity related to this call for service at this time.
The news of his passing spread quickly, especially among fans of the restaurant that owned near the beach in Clearwater called Hogan Hangouts. Now, President Trump signed a series of executive orders Wednesday to boost U.S. leadership in artificial intelligence. The plan focused on innovation, infrastructures, and making American tech the global standard. The White House says it will cut red tape, speed up permits for data centers and chip plants, and promote private sector's partnerships. It also calls for federal AI systems to be objective and free from bias. Critics say the plan lacks safeguards to protect jobs, privacy, and kids. Most of the plan could be put in place within a year. And that leads us to your viewer poll this afternoon. And we want to know what concerns you most about expanding AI. And so far at 41%, it's privacy that is still in the lead. And 11% is bias, fairness, and I'm not concerned at 16%. And 32% is job losses. Well, we still want to hear from you on this important matter. You can just go over to our website at crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we will have the latest here at 10. Stunning new details are emerging about the murder of the University of Idaho student in 2022. Newly released evidence in the case released to the public just hours after the killer was sentenced. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has a story.
Today, Idaho authorities releasing a new booking photo of convicted killer Bryan Kohberger and unsealing hundreds of documents related to the grisly murders of the 4 University of Idaho students. Those documents detailing how Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kronodle, and Ethan Chapin's bodies were found, along with tips called into hotlines and an interview with a Walmart employee who said someone had come in trying to buy a black ski mask before the murders.
We put the picture together as best we can, and a lot of that will come out at some point in time.
Yesterday, the families of the victims addressing Bryan Kohberger in court.
We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives.
We also heard from the 2 surviving roommates for the first time. One of them, Dylan Mortensen, briefly saw Kohberger the night of the murders.
I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. And there were the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream.
Victims' family members each taking their turn at the podium.
You're gonna go to hell.
Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She's the only great thing I ever really did.
If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, Kaylee would have kicked your.
Kohberger given the chance to respond.
I respectfully decline.
In a plea deal, Kohberger pled guilty and is now serving 4 consecutive life sentences. One unanswered question, though, a motive. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Texas Health and Human Services is looking for volunteers for its foster grandparent program, which matches older adults with children who have exceptional needs. To read this full article, visit crossroadstoday.com. The U.S. fertility rate has hit a record low, according to new data from the CDC. In 2024, the rate dropped to less than 1.6 births per woman, compared to over 3 in the 1960s. Experts say more couples are waiting to start families and having fewer children. The White House has responded, promoting lower IVFs, costs, and even baby bonuses. But researchers say there's no need to panic. The U.S. population is still growing. Don't miss episode 14 of Let's Grow Texas Ag. Catch it on KXTS Friday at 10 o'clock p.m. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. A judge just made a big decision why Ryan Ruth will be defending himself in the high-profile Trump assassination case. Plus, the Supreme Court is set to drop major decisions this week, ruling that could impact everything from birthright citizenships to access to LGBTQ books in schools. A judge has ruled that Ryan Ruth can represent himself in his upcoming trial for attempting to assassinate then-candidate Donald Trump in 2024. During a short hearing Thursday, Judge Eileen Cannon granted the request, but ordered standby counsel to remain. Ruth will begin representing himself during a motion hearing Friday. The judge also denied a separate request from his attorney to withdraw, saying they know the case too well to be replaced. The trial is set for September 8th. The U.S. Supreme Court is getting ready to announce some big decisions this week. These decisions could affect many people, including President Trump's an issue like free speech. The court will rule on cases about citizenship, LGBTQ books in schools, Planned Parenthood, porn websites, and more. The first decisions are expected Thursday, but the court may need a few more days to finish. And Columbia University reaching a settlement with the Trump administration, agreeing to pay more than $200 million over allegations it failed to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitism, to President saying the university also agreed to end their diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI policy. As ABC's Renee Roy reports, the settlement stems from the Trump administration pulling the school's federal funding over protests on campus.
Columbia University agreeing to pay a total of more than $220 million in a settlement with the Trump administration after they pulled the school's federal funding over protests on campus. The administration accusing Columbia of discriminating against Jewish students by not doing enough to protect them from harassment on campus. The deal restoring hundreds of millions of dollars in federal grants. University officials say the fine will be paid in 3 installments over the next 3 years, and that Columbia has agreed to follow laws banning race considerations in both admissions and hiring practices. Columbia also agreeing to provide certain information about foreign students to immigration authorities and to submit to a federal monitor that will assure compliance. President Trump, who had accused the university of not doing enough to combat anti-Semitism, calling the deal historic, commending the university for, quote, agreeing to do what's right. The university not admitting to any wrongdoing, but saying in a statement the institution's leaders have recognized repeatedly that Jewish students and faculty have experienced painful, unacceptable incidents and that reform was and is needed.
Now, earlier this week, the university suspended 70 students that participated in anti-Israel protests that took over a library last year and Alumni Weekend this year. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The Trump administration is still hoping to reach a deal with Harvard University after reaching a $200 million settlement with Columbia. The Trump administration and Harvard face off in court earlier this week. The university argues the administration freeze a $2 billion in federal funding violates the school First Amendment rights. For months, the administration and school officials have been in talks towards a potential deal. But a source say those conversations have stalled. While the judge has not made a final ruling in the case, Harvard wants a decision no later than September 3rd. The American Red Cross is on the ground in Vado, providing support to individuals and families impacted by the recent flooding. About 110 homes were affected by floodwaters and 600 homes were without power on today. Restorations and power has started and will continue as crews worked in the area. Residents were asked to avoid flooded areas, including closed roads and irrigation canals. Roadways are being actively monitored and assist for safety. And motorists were asked to not drive through flooded roadways.
Well, that flooding was up in New Mexico, where they've had continuous rainfalls even since we dried up. Now, our chances of getting out of this intense heat wave is going to help as we start picking up a little rain rolling into our region. 95 is the current temperature. It feels like 105. Let's see what our high came in at 98. That was our high temperature. We've been a little bit warmer, but I'm not ready to go there. Temperatures, however, will come down a little bit as showers start rolling into the crossroads as soon as tomorrow. We'll have all that coming up in a moment. Well, a big change is coming as soon as tomorrow. Today was just brutal heat out there. A heat index got up to 108 in the city, and down at the coast in Port Lavaca it got up to 111 because of the increase in moisture down there. What's happening? Well, it's a big change in our weather map. Now, we had been under the big dome of high pressure that was keeping us high and dry. Now, all of a sudden, the center of that high pressure is moving east, and so all this tropical moisture that's been sort of bottled up in the Gulf of Mexico has been crossing over the Gulf, for the past week. We've been talking about it. Well, it's finally about to roll into our region. As a matter of fact, here's New Orleans. Here's the latest Doppler image, and you can see that even in Lake Charles, they're beginning to get some heavy thunderstorms that are beginning to roll into that area. So imagine, if you will, that Beaumont, Port Arthur will see storms tonight, that Houston will probably see storms tonight. This pocket right here of moisture seems to be decreasing, but that's okay. That whole thing is still moving in our direction. As a result, we're going to see pop-up showers tomorrow afternoon and again on Saturday. Now, the heat wave continues pretty much for everybody, including much of the central part of the country, but now things get different for us. The cloud deck will actually knock down some of our heat index. We peaked at 108 today, and tomorrow we're only going to be at 99. That's the heat index, because the temperature will be lower and the clouds will be there, and it'll sort of protect us a little bit. But we will pick up showers Friday and Saturday. Problem is, next week we'll be back up into the hundreds in terms of heat index. So here's the future tracker. It'll show you where the rain's going to be. Notice right now, where is it? It's in Louisiana. Go forward in time and you can see that by Friday afternoon there will be some something coming down the Gulf Coast for us, and then as we get to Saturday, we've got enough instability in the air, enough moisture to actually pop quite a few showers. Now, how much rain will we get? Well, it's all going to be depending on where you're standing, because it looks like the immediate coastline will have heavier rainfall. If you're thinking you're going fishing, you'll have to consider that for Friday and Saturday. But here in the Crossroads area, generally we could see a quarter to maybe half an inch of rain. Some storms may slow down and drop a little bit heavier than that. I don't expect any severe weather, no hail, no lightning, anything like that, but heavy downpours will give us some rainfall, and I think we've had enough days of dry weather that we won't get any significant flooding problems. But one of the reasons we've had such hot, dry weather was the Saharan dust. Now, that was over us for a while. It sort of went away for a day or two, and that's why that tropical moisture is coming in. But see what's behind it? Another big push of that Saharan dust. So if it doesn't make it now, it's not going to make it through that. And that is one of the reasons that for the next 7 days, I don't believe we have any possibility of any tropical activity in the Gulf of Mexico. So for tomorrow in Port Lavaca, you're going to be not as hot as it's been. You're looking for more cloud cover, and you're looking for a few showers, especially during the afternoon hours. That's really when the peak basically we're going back to an unstable environment. We were in a stable environment there for a while, and it will only be 93 tomorrow in Cuero. The showers will be with us for Friday afternoon and Saturday, and then decreasing on Sunday, and then next week, well, we're back into the heat wave again. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today, our app, on your cell phone. And we'll toss it back to Amaya.
All right, now it's time for some sports. Max, tell us what's going on in the sports world.
Yeah, Maya, well, today is Thursday, and so that means our Athlete of the Week. And this one, we're going to cool you off here at these hot temperatures here for Athlete of the Week. Find out who that'll be coming up in sports. All right, Crossroads, for this week's Athlete of the Week, we're going to head over to the pool and give it to Victoria Aquatic swimmer Bella Callis. So here's more for our Athlete of the Week.
Taking a dive into the pool for your Athlete of the Week. And at just 13 years old, Bella Callis has proven to be one of the best swimmers in all of South Texas and potentially the nation. And this whole journey started from just a simple meet with her siblings in El Campo.
Well, I started at the age of 6, and we started in El Campo for Summer League, and my sister started first, and then my mom was like, this seems kind of interesting, like maybe let's add Bella in it. And so I was like, I could barely make it across the pool, so I was just she gave me some instructions, and like I was starting to do it, and like we were joining Summer League, and so we were starting to swim at the meets. And
from that moment on, she was hooked. Fast forward to today, she is getting ready to compete in Orlando in the TAGS Swimming Championships, also known as the Texas Age Group Swimming Championship. She'll be competing in the Southern Zone Championships. But this event is all to her excitement, as the opportunity to compete and make new friends with the same passion as hers will be on display.
I'm kind of excited for this one because like I get to go make some more friends because there's new girls going, and so you can like make friends with like the girls you race against. It's really fun.
Since she started at a young age, she was able to nail the basics of swimming quite early. And now under the swim program in Victoria Aquatics Club, her swim coach, Doug Elliott, admires her desire to get better by aiming for the difficult elements of the training.
Now that she's gotten older, she just wants it to be more difficult. Every day, what are we doing today? Can it be hard? Let's work, let's work. And so she gets in there and she really does it, and she's a really great racer. So she's really developed her potential to race at some of these real high-level meets that we've been able to go to.
Wishing Bella Callis and all swimmers of the Victoria Aquatics Club the best of luck this summer in their swim program. Ray Robinson, KAVU TV 25 News Now, Sports.
All right, over to this week's weekly fishing report, where again, like Mac mentioned, there's projected rain in the forecast here this weekend. Again, if you're going to be there on the coastline, keep that in mind, again, for flooding issues as well. But for fishermen, though, that probably won't stop them, though, going into this weekend, right? Because Coleto Creek is going to be fair there, 87 degrees, where it's going to be a little slightly stained there in the water. But bass fishing has been slow, but anglers are having the most luck, though, using those soft plastic there bait to use out there, again, to catch out those bass. But around East Matagorda Bay this past weekend, we mentioned the water was slow there last week. It's the same going into this week. It's at 87 degrees. We're wade fishing there with croaker bait. Has been producing a lot of catches of trout as of late, especially on their first reaction bite as you get out there for trout around East Matagorda Bay. And then finally at Port O'Connor, the waters are good at 82 degrees, and trout good early in the morning before the sunrise on the outside of the jetties area on that live croaker, and also slot redfish are halfway inside the South Jetty in that 20 feet of water on the Spanish sardines. And then finally, some sad news for Houston fans who support the Houston Roughnecks. As they are starting in 2026, they will be relocated out of the city of Houston. This is a massive change as the entire USFL league division there in the Memphis Showboats, Michigan Panthers, and the Birmingham Stallions, who have in the past couple years won the past 3 championships there in the USFL, again, are all going to be relocated. They are still figuring out what cities they are going to go to there in the future. But again, for Houston, they will not have a UFL team going into 2026. And that's going to do it here in sports. Amaya, back to you.
Thank you, Max. And we're back in a moment. The Rio Rancho cop took serve and protection to a whole new level by finishing a Chick-fil-A delivery after the driver got arrested. Coming up. A Rio Rancho police officer is going above and beyond the call of duty, this time with a side of Chick-fil-A. Body cam footage shows the officer delivering a DoorDash order after the original driver was arrested during a traffic stop for failing to take care of a previous ticket. Wow, how are you still driving? But rather than that, let the order go cold. Officer, he took it upon himself to complete the delivery. The customer got their food, and the officer is getting praise for taking protect and serve to a whole new level. And the Rio Rancho Police Department shared the video on social media, where it quickly gained attention for both its humor and heart.
I mean, he's assisting for a bad cause.
He is.
The past.
Yeah, and what's so funny about the video, nobody could hear it, but in the video, the officer was like, "Here, hey, I'm delivering your food because your driver got arrested." And he was like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
Very honest.
Yeah, just imagine you trying to get your food and your Uber driver's arrested. So
that is above and beyond the officer's duty there.
at least I got my food. That's all that
Well,
matters.
folks, big changes for tomorrow. We had today had nothing but sunshine. Tomorrow we've got showers rolling in. It's all this tropical moisture coming in overnight. Tomorrow it'll be much more humid, but you'll feel the rain showers probably in the afternoon hours, and that will peak actually on Saturday. So keep in mind, shower activity is around the area for the next 2 days.
But thank you for joining us, and we hope you will join us tonight for 25 News Now at 10. See you.